Hello out there, all you crazy internet people of YouTube. I see you just came in time to actually see another Q&A on my actual channel, whether it's on the Loud House or on a different type of subject. And today's video question was, what is my favorite movie of all time? Well, it depends on what kind of movie you're gonna ask me about. What's my favorite thriller movie, my favorite horror movie, my favorite Disney Pixar movie, my favorite romance movie, Warner Brothers or Universal Studios movies? Well, in this kind of video, I'm actually gonna bring up my top 10 favorite movies of all time that I really enjoy in this world.
Let's all go to lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Sleepaway Camp. I'm not too sure if most people have actually heard about this movie. Maybe, then again, there are some people that actually might have heard of this movie, considering a movie that's made in 1983 that kind of felt like it was a ripoff of Friday the 13th. I believe this is a more accurate Friday the 13th than the actual Friday the 13th movie itself. Because there was a lot of characters I really enjoyed in this movie than the Friday the 13th movie itself. Especially with the character Angela. The story itself is pretty much straightforward, and sometimes when watching movies like this, you kind of can't help to guess about which person is the victim and which ones are going to get killed. And that's why I like so much horror slasher films that are taken around camp. So you know which characters are going to get killed off, but the real mystery was, who is the killer? Well, one of the best things about this slasher film that came out in 1983 was the ending, the twist. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe the minute you're actually watching this movie and when you get to the very end of it, it explains everything, and oh boy is it traumatizing to much people who watch this either in the theater or watch it at home. They either got themselves laughing or kind of feeling scared about it. And let me just say, the ending of this movie will mess you up permanently. Being forced to completely change who you are after your family is killed just adds to the motivation even more. And I think it emphasizes if you're not allowed to live your true identity, like you're forced to be someone else, it's really gonna fuck you up. And it's probably one of my best favorite slasher horror films, because you won't get scared by it and you won't feel bored by it either. Because when I was in high school, I didn't know anything about this movie until a friend of the family actually gave me a whole VHS tapes of a bunch of horror movies, and then I decided to take a look at this movie called Sleepaway Camp, and I thought it was just okay, but later down the line as I watch it more, it gets better and better. I enjoy so much the characters in this movie, even though if the audio quality doesn't even sound like it's so clear enough that you can actually understand or what the character's actually saying in the movie. It's kind of like one of these movies that you gotta have the subtitles on so you can understand what the character is actually saying. And no matter what, I'm still gonna enjoy this movie from today.
Let's all go to lobby to get ourselves a treat.
The Lost World Jurassic Park. Yeah, I know. The first one is still way much better than the second one, but obviously the second one actually has more depth. Like, it actually shows more dinosaurs that we never got to see in the actual first Jurassic Park movie, like the Stegosaurus, Pachysauruses, Compies. Hell, even most of all, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. In fact, there's more scenes with the actual Tyrannosaurus in this one, especially when there's two of them and they have an actual infant. And I will admit, most of the characters in it are not so much developed in this one, except for maybe Ian Malcolm, if you remember that he was in the first one. But wait a minute, how is it that he was the only returning character from the first one, but Dr. Saddle and Dr. Grant weren't even in this one, and yet they got to appear in the third one, but Ian Malcolm never did appear in the third Jurassic Park? I really don't understand what actually happened there. But anyways, there were some really good scenes that I actually really enjoyed with this movie, especially with the one cool trailer that was actually gonna go over the cliff, and during the campsite when the whole group is actually running away from the Tyrannosaurus, and they go behind this waterfall. And I really enjoyed the ending when the Tyrannosaurus got loose around in the city in San Diego. And when I watch this movie, I really think of the arcade game I used to play back then, which is still around from this day. It may not live up to the way the first one is, about how good that one actually turned out for a beginning, but with this one, I really enjoyed so much of the time, even when I was a kid.
Let's all go to lobby to get ourselves a treat. Space
Jam. Okay, so this was a movie I I really and seriously grew up watching time and time again, especially when you have the Looney Tunes playing basketball against the Monstars that stole the talent from the NBA players, and they called the one and only Michael Jordan to help defeat them and get their talents back and resolve everything, so that way the Looney Tunes don't have to be slaves to an actual cigar-chewing alien named Swackhammer. I understand why critics so much didn't like the movie, but somehow it doesn't stop me from actually liking this movie so much, especially when there were so many different celebrities that played themselves. And some of the voice acting of the Looney Tunes do feel a little bit off-putting, like, because some of them don't exactly sound like the way they're supposed to be, like with D. Bradley Baker as Daffy Duck, Billy West, Bugs Bunny, Bill Farmer as Foghorn Leghorn.
May I remind you, sir, that physical violence is tasty. Did you order original recipe or extra crispy?
But don't worry, Looney Tunes Back in Action did so much better voice performance with those characters instead. I mean, this is technically the first movie I saw that was a hybrid movie between live action and hand-drawn animation, and it amazes me so much about the movie, especially with some of the songs that they actually play during this movie, and you can hear them at the very end credits. And when I hear these songs, they bring back so much nostalgic memories, and this movie made me go playing basketball. Anytime when I hear songs like Fly Like an Eagle by Seal, I Believe I Can Fly by R. Kelly,
I believe I can fly. Woo. I believe I can touch the sky.
Monica, For You I Will,
I will be your hero. I can be a hero.
and more, because honestly, I was a kid growing up in the 90s, and I got to see this on the big screen. And I would get stuck singing the tune again and again in my whole life. Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got a real jam going on. Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. But if you like the Looney Tunes and you like basketball, this would be a movie that you actually love. And I still enjoy this movie more than Looney Tunes Back in Action. Even if the voice acting of the Looney Tunes are a little bit off-putting, well, Looney Tunes Back in Action almost had a weak story, but actually had some good voice acting for the Looney Tune characters.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Penelope. Now, this movie may not get so much recognition from everybody who wouldn't remember this movie when it came out, but when I saw this trailer from this movie, I felt like this might be an interesting movie for me to take a look at. This movie feels like it's a fairy tale, but it's in a different kind of direction. So the story is like the Wilhelm family actually got cursed by a witch of the town, that the next girl that they were actually going to have as a newborn would be born with the face of a pig. And it turned out that girl was Penelope. And for years, they have been trying to prepare her to actually find the right kind of husband that could actually break the curse so that way she could have an actual normal human face. I can't admit, there were a lot of things that did annoy me and just...
What are you doing?
We need help. Yes, I'd like to report my daughter missing.
Are you out of your mind? What if they find her?
Crying out loud, Jessica.
With Catherine O'Hare's performance, oh my gosh, she just comes off obnoxious throughout this whole entire movie, as if any overprotective mom that she has been playing in the past movies. And I really hated the character she played in this movie. But the real character who I was really much focused on was Penelope herself, played by Christina Ricci. She has much of the dialogue, and her character that she gives Penelope is just so fascinating, and she just comes about a little bit hard on herself, considering the kind of face that she actually has. If I ever saw someone who's like her, I would never run away from her. I would just live with it and just adore it. In fact, there's a bit of a fanfic I've been writing, because when I went to see the movie Wonder, it made me go back to watching Penelope, and it made me write a fanfic with Augie and Penelope. And you can probably guess why. I can't even wait to post it. It's just so heartfelt with these two connecting with each other, especially for how the way they look. I swear, if you love Christina Ricci in Casper, The Addams Family, and even the new Wednesday Addams show, then you'll actually enjoy her in this 2006 romantic movie. And I can't wait to meet this celebrity in Motor City Comic Con this year.
Look, Grandma, a pig.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Kikis Delivery Service. Okay, so I really have to admit, out of most of the movies I have seen from Studio Ghibli, from Spirited Away, Ponyo, Castle in the Sky, and My Neighbor Totoro. This was the movie that I had first watched when I was a kid. My brother and I enjoyed the heck out of this movie, and it had some kind of charm and laid-back tone to it that made me actually feel like I actually can enjoy this movie. But as I get older, I kind of actually see what the message is of this movie, especially about seeking your independence. It's about a girl named Kiki who just turned 13 years old and is a witch in training. So she goes to seek her way out of town along with her black cat named Gigi, voiced by Phil Hartman.
Your room is nice, but let's take your mother's.
You're no help.
But when she thinks she's actually found the perfect city to actually live in, of course for house hunting reasons, she comes across a pregnant Osono and her husband running a bakery shop and decides to make her home place there, a flying session Tombo, and the phenomenal artist Ursula. And with a movie like this, I can very much relate to, because honestly, I understand the message, and I really enjoyed the character Kiki herself, even if Kirsten Dunst is actually a great voice actor, and I think she did it perfectly well with this character.
Look at this city. A place like this would be great to live in.
But there may be some witches living here already.
And there may not be.
This is possibly the first anime movie I actually saw when I was a kid, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, before I started watching other television shows like Dragon Ball Z, Digimon Digital Monsters, and even Pokemon. No, not that kind of Pokemon. The original Pokemon that had Ash, Misty, and Brock. If you haven't seen this movie, you will enjoy it. You can actually find it on cartoononline.com. Trust me, this is actually a really great movie compared to Spirited Away, especially if you love anime. And I really enjoy Hayao Miyazaki's animation works.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Abigail. Now, this was a movie I wasn't looking forward into after when I went to see Megan, Five Nights at Freddy, and it made me convincing enough that maybe I should actually see this, because this looks like it's a different kind of modern change to Dracula's Daughter. In fact, very loosely off Dracula's Daughter. You got 6 suspects who are also known as the Rat Pack. They kidnap a young ballerina and are intentionally to actually watch over her. But unbeknownst to them, that they actually kidnapped a ballerina vampire, especially when she played by Alicia Weir. And I have to admit, her performance in this movie was so epic, especially doing her own stunts.
Fucking bitch! I'll kill you, fucking fuck! I'll rip your fucking heads off and gorge myself on your blood!
This was the character who I was rooting for throughout the entire movie, because there was something about her character that seemed cute, charming, and charismatic, especially with the wits that she actually possessed. And as much as I enjoyed her performance throughout this entire movie, I really enjoyed Melissa's performance as Joey. There's so much that she had to offer for this movie, especially about her backstory, about her son that she abandoned almost years ago. And I really feel for this character. In fact, I'm almost just like this character. And especially with her and Alicia in the climax in the end of this movie, I thought that was so much very touching, because throughout the entire movie, I knew which characters were actually going to be dead, and I knew which character was actually going to be alive, and I had Joey on my mind. And I was thinking that maybe Abigail will not die in this movie, because she seems too cute, scary, and does have a lot of wit and charm. In fact, I'm so grateful that the guy who actually did Ready or Not actually did this movie, because when the sunlight actually comes and explodes Abigail's hand, it felt like I was picking up some vibes from that movie, especially what happened in the ending of Ready or Not, which was kind of complicated for me to explain. In fact, there's a bit of an Easter egg picture poetry in this movie. I really can't say where it is, because you got to see the movie Ready or Not before you see this movie in order to find out where it is and what I'm talking about. I love vampires, and I especially love a ballerina vampire actually taking the front center stage.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Disney's Peter Pan. This has been my ultimate favorite Disney movie of all time ever since I was a little boy, and I love Peter Pan so much. I have so much the merchandise, the toys, the video games, and even the movies of Peter Pan, because there's so much it has to offer. Like, there's faraway lands, there's pirates, there's flying, there's Indians, there's mermaids. But when I saw another movie called Peter Pan Return to Neverland, it made me kind of go and appreciate the original first Disney's Peter Pan a lot more better, because the second one didn't have too much to offer and did so much changes that I did not really like. But this one, it left a huge impact on me, especially with some of the songs like You Can Fly and even the elegant Captain Hook. Speaking about Captain Hook, when you actually have him, Mr. Smee, and the crocodile together, oh my gosh, this is some of the most best slapstick you're ever gonna get. The timing, the pacing, it freaking kills me every time when I watch this scene. Take a look at this.
Roll for the ship! Roll for the ship!
Oh my gosh. I don't know what's with Captain Hook. I'm not sure how he's able to swim that fast on water, especially when he's only got one hand and a hook. But, you know, he's still a funny villain. Again, when people think about Peter Pan, when they think of Captain Hook, this is the Captain Hook that they really mostly think about. Or maybe Jason Isaacs' Captain Hook, maybe Dustin Hoffman, but most likely I think they think of Disney's Captain Hook. And even they had some controversy and negative impacts with the Native Americans, especially singing the song What Makes the Red Man Red. You know what? I didn't find too much anything offensive about it. I thought the song was actually pretty much catchy about it. And I still love it from this day. And honestly, I enjoy the Native Americans.
Right from the dead man, the real true story of the red man, no matter what's been written or said.
You got Peter Pan, who actually comes back to the Darlings' home because he got his shadow captured by Nana the dog, and he actually takes Wendy, John, and Michael to a faraway place, Neverland, meeting mermaids, the Lost Boys, Captain Hook, the Native Americans, even checking out Skull Rock while being associated with his fairy friend Tinkerbell. Another character who I really actually so much enjoy, especially when I've seen so much the Tinkerbell movies. And this is pretty much a film for everybody, especially all of ages, boys and girls. I think boys can get so much into the pirates and the fighting so much, while the girls can get into a bit of the romance and even the flying a bit. It's just like if you're watching Cowboys in Space, then you can really have so much a good time with Toy Story and maybe this movie. This is personally my favorite, top 3 favorite Disney movies alongside with Pinocchio and a few others which I might be able to talk about in my top 10 favorite Disney animated movies. This is a movie that makes me feel like I may be an adult, but inside, I'm still a little boy who never grows up and lets go of any of my nostalgic memories. As long as you still have faith, trust, and pixie dust, you'll always be able to fly.
Let's all go to lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Holy crap, this is one of my 3rd favorite movies of all time. Because when I saw the new Wonka movie, it made me go back and appreciate the original aspect of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I just enjoyed the heck out of Gene Wilder's performance. I didn't understand this movie at first when I was watching it as a kid, after when I saw the live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. But when watching this again, there's a lot of things I kind of missed when I was a kid, especially with some of the songs, some of the actual whimsical humor from Gene Wilder, even the Oompa Loompa songs, and even some of the effects kind of look cheap and everything, and Roald Dahl didn't like how the way it works. But you know, I really respect so much the work that someone put into this movie, especially into the songs. In fact, this was the real reason why I became a candy man to the public eye at Urban Air and having my own mini candy shop. And yes, the favorite song I enjoyed the most, and I cannot stop singing it time and time again, is
There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination.
This was much likely a song that made me keep my hopes alive, to make me believe that my dreams will actually come true, of my own creation and imagination, of what I'm gonna do to my own home when I buy it and turn it into a fun house. I truly believe that Gene Wilder had, and always will be the Candyman himself.
Don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted.
What happened?
He lived happily ever after.
Even if Timothy is actually being a younger aspect of the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka himself, but we'll see what happens in the sequel of Wonka to see if that's going to lead all up to the golden tickets. And as I said before, I really enjoyed the Loud House episode Candy Crush because it did have a couple of Willy Wonka vibes into it. And it's kind of interesting if you watch that short before you watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory or with the new Wonka movie. it'll put an extra topping onto it. Because anything this sweet deserves to melt in your mouth.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
I know I already talked about this movie time and time again on social media, YouTube, even in the public, but oh my gosh, this deserves to be talked about so much, even if I'm considering this my second favorite movie of all time. Megan is an unforgettable kind of feature that you can never, ever go wrong with watching, especially when it is so groundbreaking of being a PG-13 rating instead of a rated R feature. Because honestly, most killer dolls would actually be rated R, but Megan is the absolute first one to be a PG-13 rating. And you know, I really didn't see her so much as being a bad guy, a villain, or the antagonist of this story. I know the whole thing was something about being warned about AI and technology, about how some things can actually go bad when you actually think you got everything under control. But most things weren't even Megan's fault to begin with, especially when Gemma actually installed a learning program, thinking that she would mostly figure everything out on it by herself. And it became a big problematic when she got attacked by the neighbor's dog. And if you take a close look at the movie, once again, you can actually see that some circuit in her neck or her head actually got broken, which actually caused a trigger in her mechanism to make her go rogue. Not to mention that somehow it went to an emotional, touching moment with Megan and Katie in the room when Katie explains about her parents to Megan, and then suddenly she just softens up and warms up to her, especially when she sings to her.
A friend is never very far. Tell me your dreams, I will dream them too. I'm so glad I finally found you.
And I got so emotional with this movie, especially with this part. But as much likely as much of you guys have heard of, that there's a Megan 2.0 movie coming out, and there are a few spoilers that are actually heading about, especially with Megan's character, and which makes me realize I think I'm actually gonna love this movie, because honestly, I never saw Megan as a villain. If you enjoyed the first Megan movie, and if you love the characters so much, then I think you're really much like to see 2.0 to see where that's gonna lead up, because I heard there's a new evil doll that's actually taking her spot. But don't worry, Megan will actually return in this one, but in a different way. But also remember, one of the toy companies, a little dickhead, that actually managed to leak Megan's data to a different company, going right behind his boss's back. And especially when this happened right after the presentation and after when she got attacked by the dog. So he has no idea that he actually leaked so much of Megan's rogue data to somebody else, which does lead up to the actual sequel of this. And I promise you that it better be the last one for Megan to actually be in, because after this, they're actually going to do a spin-off movie on Megan's universe called Soulmate. No joke. I love this movie, I love Megan, and I love how it balanced out from scares, laughs, to heartfelt moments with this movie.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And for my favorite #1 movie of all time in general that I enjoyed the most is The Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh my gosh! This is my favorite movie of all time. I fell in love with when I was a little boy. I just love the actual atmosphere, the colors, the characters, the songs, and even the story itself. Even if it doesn't have a single message to deliver to us, this movie mainly just likes to have fun, to play with each of the holidays that don't even mix so much very well. And they're both holidays that we all enjoy the heck out of when we were young and as we grow up. Halloween and Christmas. Seriously, I really enjoyed this movie when I was a young boy, and when I grow up, I still get so much the songs and the characters' quotes in my head, especially my two favorite songs.
Boys and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange?
And even like,
Whoa, I'm a boogie, boogie man.
And my favorite character is Jack Skellington in this movie, who I can very much relate to, and who exactly I am in the community around here in Michigan. Especially when he's the holiday guy who grew so much tired of his own holiday and tries to find something different to do something about it. But when he discovered Christmas, it gave him a new purpose to figure out the meaning and to how to convey that kind of sense of joy he had onto his fellow monsters. Even if there can some things that can blind him to a fault about what can really go wrong with it, even when a ragdoll Sally tries to tell him about it. But you know, like him and I, it's much the first time he feels so alive and had motive to do something great for his community. And I can say this, that he's quite relatable when our lives are empty and need to have something to fill that with something different, something that can give meaning to being ourselves again.
Nice work, Bone Daddy.
Yeah, I guess so. Just like last year, and the year before that.
I really wish that this could have been an actual Disney animated feature film and could have added to the list. It would have been so much perfect to fit into the Disney Renaissance era. I have the games, the merchandises, the toys, the blankets, the clothes, everything from The Nightmare Before Christmas I have been collecting. And I do love seeing this stuff at Hot Topic. And I even got to meet the voice actor of Jack Skellington at Comic-Con. This is possibly a movie that you can either enjoy around Halloween time or Christmas time, but normally I enjoy it at the end of the month of October and I enjoy it throughout November and stop watching it at the beginning of December. This is a movie that everybody will have to love sometime sooner or later, especially when you got the bright, colorful, and whimsical looks of Christmas Town, or even something more muted and dead that Black Lion's taking over in Halloween Town. And there'd be no reason for them to make this into a live action feature. It is perfect just the way it looks. Kind of like a Rankin Bass holiday special. Mostly based off a poem written by Tim Burton, who never got to direct the movie, but at least he got to produce it. This would be a great movie for boys and girls at every age, for anything they want to see something strange. If you love so much Halloween stuff like Coraline, Paranorman, The Addams Family, Scooby-Doo and the Ghouls, School, Corpse Bride, or if you like so much good Christmas material like The Polar Express, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, Charlie Brown or The Grinch, then this is a movie that you'll actually really enjoy the heck out of, as bad as I did. I lost count how many times I actually watched this movie, but I can tell you one thing though, I will still enjoy it as my #1 favorite movie in general of all time. And that, YouTubers, has been my top 10 favorite movies of all time I like to enjoy in general. Hopefully next time I might be doing something with anime, Disney anime features, Disney Pixar, horror films, love romance movies. Who knows? I'll see y'all the next time.